Welcome, folks, to The Uncommon Good with Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr. Every week, diving deep into the truth of Catholic social teaching and restoring all things in Christ.
The Uncommon Good is on the air. I'm Bo Bonner.
And I'm Dr. Bud Marr.
We are coming to you from these United States of America, here in the middle of the country, Des Moines, Iowa, where we hope you are getting your preparations ready. Maybe you can listen to this show. You can get if you download it too, you can listen to it on repeat as you are getting ready your Thanksgiving meal. Hopefully it's as nutritious as a Thanksgiving meal, and also hopefully it doesn't make you fall asleep like a Thanksgiving meal. But at any rate, this is The Uncommon Good. We're so glad to have you here. Iowa Catholic Radio, happy to have our listeners during this festive preparatory season. I'm Bo Bonner. I, of course, work at Mercy College of Health Sciences, where I am the Senior Advisor for Mission Initiatives and the Director for the Center for Human Flourishing, here with my good friend Bud Marr. What do you do over at Mercy?
The Associate Provost at Mercy. And, Bo, you mentioned the show not making folks sleepy. I was at a holiday gathering recently, and there was a trivia contest. And the question was about, what in the Thanksgiving meal actually makes you sleepy?
Tryptophan.
Yeah, tryptophan. And the person who wrote the trivia questions said it's not.
What?
He said it's just like eating a lot of food, da-da-da. Pretty sure tryptophan makes you sleepy.
I mean, I don't know if it's something like, when Star Wars fans got mad at George Lucas for inventing metachlorians, but if tryptophan's not real, it's a perfect word for describing how tired you are after eating Thanksgiving. So I posthumously rule that you got that question right.
Well, yeah, and it probably is a confluence of factors, but I think the tryptophan plays a key role. It's
the lead banner for, yes, probably like carb overload and everything like that, and like Lions and Cowboys games. Although this one's supposedly going to be a lot more interesting, right? Supposedly the games are going to be better this year.
It could be. The Lions are still pretty terrible.
Yeah, but they have a really awesome Oklahoma State linebacker playing for them, so that's good enough for me.
Oh, that's cool to watch. I know the Bills game got moved to Minnesota because they're going to get like 5 or 6 feet of snow.
Babies.
I know. I like snow football, but that would have been intense.
That might be you couldn't see other players at all.
So what makes it snow thunder? They're saying snow thunder. Does it thunder during the snowstorm, or is it just like sounds cool?
No, it will. Yeah, you get thunder snow. You can get both of those because like thunder is not about like whether it's hot or not. It's about the negative charge. Oh man, you're harking back to my meteorology days. I think some people have heard this before. I wanted to be a meteorologist as a kid because I loved tornadoes and storms. But then I found out you had to do a lot of math, and you had to go to OU, so I stopped that dream. But yeah, so like you can have the requirements necessary to have lightning, even if it's cold.
Okay.
So it seems to be more rare because of like what sort of air masses are usually behind causing snow. But yeah, thunder snow would have to be pretty scary.
It would be. If you don't want to study meteorology, but medicine, and not go to OU.
And not go to OU, yes.
Where can you attend?
Well, it's a feast. Since this is a festal week, you can have a feast of knowledge at Mercy College of Health Sciences, mchs.edu. Mercy College underwrites our show. I think we could probably get in a lot of trouble about like deciding which parts of the traditional Thanksgiving meal make up the parts of Mercy College. I'll just go ahead and take the bullet and say I'm the turkey, of Mercy College.
I'm hoping I'm the cranberry sauce, but I am very thankful to be working there.
Hi-yo.
Thankful for what Mercy College provides for the community. I think training the next generation of healthcare professionals.
You can be stuffed with knowledge, and then the gravy on top is the Mercy charism difference. That we need to stop here. It's going to get bad pretty quick with the food metaphors. But Mercy College of Health Science underwrites our show, mchs.edu. Sorry, I interrupted.
We're probably making our marketing guy nervous. He's like, I'm going to lose my job if these guys keep coming up with Thanksgiving-themed, promotions for the college.
Just like every season, we're just bringing up food metaphors for the college. Don't worry, Matt. We'll be quiet. We'll stop. But we won't stop bringing you Thanksgiving points, hokey maybe all the way through, because this is the Thanksgiving episode where we want to give thanks for you, for everything that we have, but just talk about Thanksgiving and its role really in the common good. So we try to usually do this one per year. But that's what we're doing today, the Thanksgiving episode here with the Uncommon Good, Bo Bonner, Dr. Bud Marr. I hope you've saved room for desserts. Stick around. We'll be back right after this.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from John Leonetti, EOS Implementer, the entrepreneurial operating system, helping businesses and organizations clarify, simplify, and achieve their vision. John.Leonetti at EOSWorldwide.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by Bozen the Florist. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, weddings, whatever the message, say more with Bozen. Bozen.com, 515-244-ROSE. Bozen makes the moment mean more.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from CTO. 2023 is just around the corner, and that means time to do taxes. Reduce or eliminate paying Iowa income taxes and instead give to the Catholic Tuition Organization and receive 75% Iowa tax credits. These credits are going fast, so reserve yours today. Online at ctoiowa.org. The bottom line, it's for the kids and their future.
Back with the Uncommon Good, Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr joining you this Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. You know, Bud, the Friday after has a name. We should come up with a name for the Wednesday before.
I think the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is cooler than the Friday after Thanksgiving.
I agree.
The anticipation. And we, to save on our energy bill, like especially in the summer, we have an oven in our garage. And a few nights ago, we hosted Friendsgiving, which we get together with folks in the neighborhood and do like a Thanksgiving meal. When I came home, Rachel was baking in the garage. That's a good thing to come home to.
That's nice. That's what we should start labeling our show as, the Uncommon Good. It's like baking in the garage.
The smell of bread.
You got to be careful with that one, though. Like baking food, nothing illegal in the garage. Yes.
Well, the smell of bread cooking in the garage is Thanksgiving Eve.
I do like that. What's funny is how traditional that sounds, although I don't think it's traditional at all. No. But it'd be great to be like, remember when great-grandma would bake bread in the garage? And then most people are like, I don't think any of my grandparents had garages.
Well, there's a name for Spy Wednesday during Holy Week. So
that's right.
I'm racking my brains. We're going to have to come up with something for Thanksgiving Eve, just beyond Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't know. If you want to name it a color, though, that might be bad, too. So anyway, but it's like preparation Wednesday, which, I should have made a bigger deal. I was hanging out with a Canadian friend the other day, and I didn't get the chance as an American, which I should, our God-given right, to make fun of how much better our Thanksgiving is than Canada's.
What do they do?
I think they apologize.
Oh, man.
That's not like the Canadian joke, is they just apologize for everything.
And they eat...
I don't know. They just say a boot and say sorry. No, I'm sorry. Father Harrison, if you're listening, you can contact us and get on to us and tell us what we're doing wrong, and then apologize for it.
Well, it's funny you mentioned this because there's a former colleague of mine at St. Louis University. He's no longer there, so I'll keep his identity anonymous. But he's Canadian, and he's worked it out where he moved back to Canada. But he's got an irrational hatred of turkey. He's like, turkey is just the most tasteless food you could, so. Yeah. He sort of mocks like Americans, like their big feast day, they eat terrible meat or something.
No, what does he want, moose or something? What's he angling at? Are you Tom Hortons?
That's awesome. Are you a fan of pardoning the turkey?
Oh, I mean, I guess if that's, we've never done that. Are you just talking about like how the president does?
And I think it's a nice gesture, and there's something sort of biblical about it. Like redemption. But then what does the turkey do the rest of his life?
Yeah, it gets eaten later. I think you up the ante and just enough, not a lot, you pepper in a few years where the turkey doesn't get pardoned. Then it would be a thing. Then you'd be tuning in being like, what has this turkey done?
Did you say gets eaten later?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
But
I'm kind of scarred now. Like,
you think it just like there's like a royal throne room of turkeys that have been pardoned by the president?
I thought they took him out to a really nice free range.
You know what? This is another thing where clearly we're not the zoologists some people might suppose we are. I literally don't know how long turkeys usually live.
It's like a Flannery O'Connor short story where he's pardoned, and then he goes out to the range and gets eaten by an animal or something.
That's right. That's probably... They let nature take its course. So as you can clearly tell, folks, we're having our fun Thanksgiving episode. So we don't have anything immediately to like check off the list, so we can go on a bit of an excursion. Now, but I will say that it's serious business to be thankful. I think every year we make sure to take time to talk about Thanksgiving for a few reasons. This year more than any, Thanksgiving and then the Feast of Christ the King. And it's actually the opposite, right? Christ the King just happened, and now we're going to have Thanksgiving. But Christ the King, I know for me, that's probably one of the central devotions I have. I love that, the celebration. I love coming at the end of the liturgical year, all those things like this. And I think it really does point to November being an incredibly special month for the church. Yes, liturgically, but liturgically having immediate implications for our life on the ground. We started all off with All Saints, All Souls. Through the year, through the month, praying for the souls in purgatory, really understanding that our polis, our political community, as it were, extends beyond those who are just merely on the accident of being alive, but to the dead as well. But then we get to think about Christ the King, the end of time, and then, yes, it's a secular holiday, but if you have to throw in a secular holiday that seems appropriate to November, it really is Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving for the liturgical year that's getting ready to end, Thanksgiving for those souls that have gone before us, and Thanksgiving that we have such a wonderful and glorious King, the Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, philosophers have puzzled over what separates human beings from other creatures, from other animals, and some folks will say it's language or laughter or emotions. There are other philosophers who talk about we're like the homos adoremus, like we want to, I probably didn't conjugate the Latin correctly there, but we're like worshiping creatures. And one thread that you see throughout most human societies is sacrifice or worship. And so there seems to be this deep-seated human impulse to want to offer gratitude, and even in our very secularized culture, we still have this entire day that's important to most Americans. Where like we want to be thankful and, sacrifice in so many ways. Like a lot of people sometimes critical of Christianity will construe sacrifice as like trying to appease a God. But so many of the sacrifices in the Old Testament, in the Old Covenant, are sacrifices of thanksgiving. And so, as the church, I like how you're pointing out here that we just celebrated the Feast of Christ the King. And I think we want to be careful about allowing like the way maybe our secular world organizes time to like overwhelm the way that we do. But I think for Catholics to celebrate Thanksgiving well, that is part of our witness, part of our life, a chance to get together with family, sort of as a precursor or preview of the communion of all the saints. And then I think a really important step on the back end, Bo, we joke about Black Friday, but you have this beautiful day where we thank God for like another harvest, for the bounties of the earth. And then our culture, I think, wants to push us into sort of a frenetic kind of like move towards Christmas. But as Catholics, we immediately enter into the season of Advent and the season of waiting. And I think to celebrate the rhythm of this time of year well, it's important to carve out that Advent spirituality.
I agree. And I think that's one way in which, if we stop and think about it, even the sort of secular movement of time reminds us that people really do want ritual and reverence. So I know people get in like fights. You were talking about this, that people act like turkey's bad or like, why do we have to have these foods? But I love how it's even a sort of long-standing American phenomenon to go, I don't know, at Thanksgiving you eat turkey and you have stuff, there's stuff you do. And what's probably interesting is I'm almost sure if you go back, it starts to make sense. You mentioned the harvest. I'm almost sure there's ways in which most of those foods have some sort of relationship to the past in that way. Some of them are probably just weird phenomenon, like probably the weird cranberry jelly is just people are all like, yeah, well, we never eat it any other time of the year. Got to get rid of it.
They may have been scrounging for food to survive. They're like, let's eat these berries. Yeah. And it's like, those helped us, make it that one winter.
That's right. So let's jellify them. Yeah. But, I don't think, what's funny is my wife is more and more slipping towards team. She's tired of Thanksgiving food, so we're working through it. No, because I'm all like on team, why don't we eat Thanksgiving food more often? I mean, but the idea that I'm getting at is to say deep-seated in all of us is the want for reverence and ritual, regularity in time, things like this. But to your point about Black Friday, I hear some people go, man, we shouldn't even do Thanksgiving as Christians because it just gives in to, a secular and over-politicized understanding of things. I think it's great if you can do anything, if you can have businesses go, hey, you guys should have a day off or two to go be with your family, to take advantage of that. The real resistance is to be, stuffed. I guess some people get mad at the gluttony part, but like to feast and say, we're glad that we're together, and maybe just not do anything on Black Friday. That, to me, is the bigger field of resistance. If we could figure out how to take the Friday from Thanksgiving back from all of the companies.
Well, I don't pretend to be well-versed in the field of psychology, but I think this, from what I have read, my surface level knowledge, like gratitude is just really important for your health. Mm-hmm. And I think it testifies to the fact that we are created, that our very being is dependent upon God's, constant sustenance or whatnot. And so, like, the fact that the world, like you said, gives us an opportunity to have this gratitude, so essential. And I love your idea of, Black Friday, making it a Sabbath day for Christians. Have you ever gotten into the history of, whether American Catholics are dispensed from eating meat on Friday? There's a website that I read sometimes where it's like a big deal to them, like Pius XII did this. It's actually the kind of place where they're suspicious of other sort of old wives' Catholic tales, but yes, Pius XII said we could all have turkey the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and because that's the one where they basically so you are commanded to, and I'm like, I don't know about command. I mean, I do like the idea of not wasting food, but the command to eat Thanksgiving leftovers. I have to admit, Thanksgiving leftovers, that's probably even better than Thanksgiving the day of.
It's weird. There are some foods where, if you leave them in the fridge for 24 hours, it's good and now amazing.
It's like cold brew coffee. But
I mix my cranberries and mashed potatoes together. And if Robin is getting tired of Thanksgiving food, you can mix things up. So my sister in recent years has started to do Cajun style. Do you say stuffing or dressing?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So shrimp and some spices.
No, we've done. Robin actually makes an awesome Cajun variation, and it was even too spicy for some of my uncles on my mom's side, which that is hard to do. So yes, very impressive. And now I'm hungry, and now we'll be having a conversation when we get back home. This is the Uncommon Good. Bo Bonner, Dr. Bud Marr. Stick around. We'll be back right after this.
Thank you, Builder Ken Construction, for supporting Iowa Catholic Radio. Builder Ken Construction is a commercial general contractor. Projects range from tenant improvements, historical renovations, to high-rise buildings. Learn more at bdconstruct.com. Thank you, Builder Ken Construction, for supporting Iowa Catholic Radio.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by Ashworth Vision Clinic. Complete eye exams, contact lenses, glasses, glaucoma testing, and urgent eye issues. 515-440-4610. ashworthvision.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by Mercy College of Health Sciences, where you can chart your course for more.
Mercy College provides unparalleled clinical rotations, hands-on learning, accelerated education, and flexible schedules. Since 1899, Mercy College has been transforming students into healthcare professionals. Guided by Catholic values, our faculty put classroom theory into practice. Students are prepared for roles in service and leadership throughout their own careers.
Learn more at mchs.edu. Mercy College of Health Sciences, mchs.edu.
Back with the Uncommon Good. Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr joining you this Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Thank you for listening to the show, and may you have many blessings with whomever it is that you're celebrating Thanksgiving with. This is the Thanksgiving episode. Not only are we, of course, talking about the great feast of Thanksgiving that occurs tomorrow, but also Thanksgiving for the Feast of Christ the King that has getting us ready to wrap up the liturgical season. Advent technically starts on a Sunday, so we are sort of in the end times. When Thanksgiving lands on the last week of ordinary time before Advent, but it's a little too perfect. But we have one of those years, and I hope people take time to dwell on that, not only liturgically, but to think about that socially. What is it to say that we should end a year being thankful for what we've experienced blessings-wise here on the ground.
Yeah, and one way when we think about like how do we properly be thankful as Catholics, like I think an important way to do that is through our giving. Sacred Scripture says that the Lord loves a cheerful giver, and so there's so many parts of the New Testament that say like out of the abundance of what we've been given, that we take care of our brothers and sisters in the body of Christ. So I think this time of year, again, it kind of has worked out where it like correlates or coincides with what the world does, because a lot of people start thinking about like year-end tax gifts and things like that. But, we've always talked about on the show, like we welcome people's prayers, all the ways that they support our ministry. I think thinking about a gift for the station is an amazing way to express your gratitude towards God and to be a part of this work that we're doing at the radio station. When you talk about, like you mentioned briefly, the end times, how'd you say it? Advent?
The end of ordinary time before Advent.
Yeah.
And Advent actually makes us think of the end times too. That's a good point. But yeah.
Well, I liked that we had Mass we have Mass every Wednesday on campus, but there was one of the priests here in the diocese who was saying Mass last week, and he started the homily. He's like, we're living in the end times. And then he did this amazing like Advent reflection, but it really like woke me up the way he started that homily.
He just needs to start a siren. Well, I hope to your point, and it's funny, I'm thinking of times in my evangelical past where the Lord loves a cheerful giver has been a bit too weaponized against people. Not like really bad, just sort of like people are grumbling and they're like, Lord loves a cheerful giver. And you're like, do you want me to fake smile while I put this in the collection plate? The Lord loves a joyful giver. I think we get this one wrong. Like I said, it sort of flattens out and it's all so stop grumbling. But it's actually this idea that if we can learn to enjoy, to love giving, that is really starts to be the gift. And I know that becomes a cliche, and Christmas is around the corner, so people are like, oh, I used to love getting gifts, but now that I give them to my kids, that's the real gift. I'm like, also, I would take some gifts. But the point that I'm getting at is the idea that when we learn through gratitude to the joy of sharing what we have, it really is a gift. I just want to point out that it's, of course, a habit that you have to work into. You can't will yourself into it. You can't just, I'm going to put on a fake smile, so now I love giving. But I hope that the end of the liturgical year, Thanksgiving, as we prepare for Advent, really puts to mind, or somewhere deep in our hearts, to say, I'm on the way of learning the habit of joyfully giving. And sure, I hope that you guys think of Iowa Catholic Radio when you think of that, or many of the other wonderful charities I know that folks who listen support, but I do think that that's important. So, Bud, I'm thankful that we've been able to do this show now for, 6 years?
Thankful for another year of Uncommon Good, for all of our listeners, for the wonderful people we work with alongside here.
So thank you guys for listening. We hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. This is the Uncommon Good. May Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, reign in our hearts, our families, our city, state, nation, world, solar system, galaxy, the whole kit and caboodle. This is the Uncommon Good, and we'll be back next week. But if folks want to be part of the prayer life here on Iowa Catholic Radio, what are ways they can do so?
Yeah, besides keeping up with things using the Iowa Catholic Radio app, you can also download it to pray the Rosary anytime, anywhere. We broadcast the Rosary on air at 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., and then the Divine Mercy Chaplet at 2:55 in the afternoon.
Fantastic. And so just to make sure people know what's going on in and around the Diocese of Des Moines, IowaCatholicRadio.com has all that as well. Just going to mention two real quick. The dinner in December with Cy Kellett from Catholic Answers Live will be December 10th at the Embassy Suites, 5:30 p.m. at downtown Des Moines. Make sure to go check that out. Get registered. The day before, on December 9th, there's a Man Up Power Lunch at St. Francis at noon. Normal things with all that, but Cy Kellett will be at that as well. And as Bud said, if you are thankful and grateful for what we do, please consider, of course, not only your prayers and your volunteer time, but also a gift to the station that can allow this great ministry to continue. Bud, thank you. I hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And whether it's tryptophan or not, I hope your naps post-eating may be sweet.
Yeah, blessings to everyone and prayers during this wonderful season.
So, one more time, this is the Uncommon Good. Thank God for you guys. Thanks for everything else. We'll be joining you in Advent next week.
The Uncommon Good with Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr is heard every week on wonderful Catholic stations like this one, and anytime on podcast. Just search for The Uncommon Good.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and The Uncommon Good provided by Mercy College of Health Sciences. Learn more at mchs.edu.